Thank you, Chair Luria. And yes, Mr. Hippolyte, can you explain why the VA requires an attorney to self-certify their good standing with their respective state bar rather than requesting this information from the bar directly?
I think we find it more efficient to go directly to the attorney for that information. They may be recognized in more than one state. They may be a member of more than one state bar, and then they can just make a single certification to us to do that. We are attempting to make our process a little more efficient in that regard too, that we're trying to automate our process better so that it will send up flags when it's time for somebody to certify if they haven't, so we can track it a little bit better.
And so I'm a former member of my counties. So I'm from Iowa. We have 99 counties. We have both a state process and then other funding for which every county has their own Veterans Affairs, County Veterans Affair, and I was on that the board for our county's Veteran Affair. So I'm familiar with the process of both accreditation in the state and the national accreditation. And I also was a state senator, and we had the opportunity to speak with people who were concerned about individuals charging fees, but they themselves, as either a member of a VSO or a county director of a Veterans Affair, did not charge a fee. However, all of those individuals were paid. So as members of VSOs who do claims for benefits, are these individuals paid? And is their certification paid for? Who pays for that? Or is that done out of their own pocket?
This is in the case of the county representatives?
In the county representatives, we as the county pay for that. So there's state funding for that. On the VSO side, is that a paid position for people to do benefits claims?
Yeah, in that regard.
Preparation, analysis?
Yes, my understanding that for the Veteran Service Organizations, it's a mix of for people who are paid, or they're doing it full time for the organization, and then there's also volunteers who do it just on a voluntary basis and don't get paid for their services. So it depends on the organization, I think, and even some organizations may have a mix of volunteers and paid.
And then is there accreditation process? Does a volunteer pay for that themselves, or are they accredited by being a member of the organization?
Yeah, they're accredited through the organization. So when a VSO representative wants to be accredited, the organization will send us the certification that the person has, is qualified to be accredited, and we rely heavily on the organizations to do that. So the individual service organizations don't contact us directly; they work through the organization.
Do they have any training or course or education process?
Yes, when we recognize organizations, we ensure that they have a adequate training program and process. That's in our regulations. They have to show us that they have an adequate training program. And we do go back and monitor those periodically and contact the organizations to follow up. I think we do about 9 organizations or so a year. I think that we ask them to send their training information to us to make sure that they still have a good training program. And we've had, I think, pretty good luck on that. I think the organizations generally are doing a good job on that.
You mentioned that you were monitoring, so can you explain how the VA plans to improve the monitoring of the representatives to ensure that they're maintaining the requirements for accreditation? It sounds like the process is different for VSOs than it is for our county officials who have a course that they have to attend. They have to be recertified. They can either do that statewide or they can do that nationally. There's both of those levels, and that's a pretty regulated process, if you will. So how are you monitoring and maintaining, and then is that certification or accreditation process standardized among the VSOs among the states?
Krista, would you want to take that one?
Absolutely. So every 5 years, a VSO representative has to be recertified, and this is across the board. If it's a county veteran service officer, a tribal veteran service officer, state employee, national service officer. All of them have to be recertified every 5 years. This is also something that we have been paying a lot of attention to and focusing on to ensure that these individuals are being recertified, and that the certifying official for each of the organizations is going ahead and recertifying to their character and fitness every single time. It's been really effective. Our compliance check on this for the last few years, I'm going to tell you that that this was a requirement that wasn't heavily followed for in the past. But once we started providing a list of everyone who was due and working with the certifying official, we got really great results with the VSOs.
And so so you have an individual in the VSO, and then are they accrediting other individuals to be representatives? That's the part I'm trying to get at.
So there's a certifying official for each of the veteran service organizations that's recognized by VA, and that could be national, state, tribal,
Okay.
local, or regional. And all of those, each of those organizations, that's the main person we have contact with, and in constant communication, honestly. I mean, some of these organizations send thousands of applications per year.
And you mentioned character and fitness.
Correct. So,
How do we know that they know how to properly process claims and benefits and get information from HRC so that they know how to process for a benefit or disability for a veteran? Are you accrediting other than character and fitness?
So each of the organization is required to have a training program, or to have access to a training program that they're using and have some sense of oversight or ability to assess it. And so the representatives go through that. They also assess their character and fitness based on their experience, and the character is based on a whole whatever they feel is appropriate, but we always refer back to what we have in our regulations for attorneys and agents.
Thank you very much. I think my time's expired. Thank you, Chair Lurie. Or maybe that buzzing's not me, I'm not sure.
I think that's a warning about impending votes. Did you get a chance to get through all of your questions?
Primarily, I think it's important that veterans, and I myself am a veteran, have an option or a menu of opportunities that they should choose from, whether the individual is being paid for by an organization that assists veterans or the individual is assessing a fee that the veteran pays for. As long as there's transparency and appropriate knowledge that a veteran can make that decision, then I think the access to more information, more help for the veteran is appropriate. So thank you very much for your testimony and your witnessing.
Okay, appreciate those comments. Thank you.